Well, palms up. Yes. We're back for another week. It's your girl, and the overseer.
Hey.
You know who that is, don't you? Hey guys, you know May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're so excited to be back before you for another week of the Palms Up Show. Hey guys, palms up out there. You know what it is. We educating ourselves this May because we're going to stop all the nonsense, and if we're going to build an army, then we've got to do some educating, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Hey, overseer, come on, bring that real talk message in early, why don't you? Let's get that out the way first before we go in.
Well, real talk is don't believe the hype. Don't get caught up in the mix. Stay away from the gossip. Stay away from negativity. And don't believe everything that these politicians are saying right now because they just trying to get in office. Don't go by just name recognition. Do your research.
That's
seriously.
right.
If you want things to change, you need to learn your research on your politician. But most of all, you need to stop beefing with each other and come together as one. And then those legislators won't have a choice but to do it because they see we stand in this one. Peace out. Love you, baby.
Hey, you heard it. That's our girl. Hey guys, do what I'm doing. Get all your friends gathered around. Get this link shared because we're educating this week. That's right. We're educating because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we want everybody to get this good word. So without any further ado, I want you guys to know something. You hear about this Roe versus Wade, right? I'm telling you about the dangers of having leadership in office that's not being accountable and that's not being questioned. And that's why we come out and do this work. That's why we started our platform, guys, because mental health is too important.
Yes.
It's too serious. It's too complex that when in the wrong hands without education, it's dangerous. And so we do this work because we want you guys to have a platform to be able to come and bounce your ideas off. If you're going to tell anybody that nonsense, tell it to us so we can help you get straight about what's real out here surrounding mental health and the trauma that is typically associated with folks that have mental health. So we're not going to ask you to know or expect you to know. We're going to help you to know. How about that? Palms up. All right, guys. So you heard about this Roe versus Wade, right? This is our history now. We're going back in history for our millennials and our Gen Z. Roe versus Wade is supposed to be in the books, right?
It's
supposed to be buried underground. It's supposed to be done. Just like our voting rights. Y'all better pay attention. Y'all better get educated out there. I'm telling you, this is a political town. This is a political season. How you going to vote if you don't know who to vote for or know why you're voting for them? You might think you know why you're voting for them, but with so much gun violence, so many carjackings, my God, with so many people still sleeping in the streets, are you holding your elected official accountable? See, you voted for them the last time. We had these same issues. And now it's time to mount up. What'd you say?
I think they done increased.
The issues have increased, overseer says. See, when are you going to hold the people that you're voting for accountable? I know you're all up in the meetings, kikiing in your heels, looking all cute with your hair all down your back, drinking those cocktails and everything, going to all these little socials. Guys, this is about real life. This is about families that don't have the ability to be looped into these cliques. And then you vote these folks into office, and folks still sleeping in the streets, sleeping in their cars, have nowhere to go, hungry. And then we talk about mental health, and they have the audacity to turn to members of the cloth. You know what last week's message was. We're not doing that no more, I hope. And if you're finding them out there, you let us know. Cut it out and take that word demon and devil out of your mouth when you're talking about mental health. And this week, we're going to help you understand why it's important. See, guys, those of us that do this work, those of us that live these realities and live this life, we get it. So when you hear something or read something as serious as Roe versus Wade, that's history.
Yeah.
They already tried these cases. And those of you that don't know, it's surrounding the abortion issue.
Yeah.
These wonderful white men, the powers that be that have always been, are coming together to try to take away and get involved again in a woman's right to choose.
Control.
I mean, it's ridiculous out there. If you guys don't speak up, they're going to reverse everything. Last summer, we was up in arms because they passed that legislation about our children.
Yeah.
Being able to be vaccinated. And I know you guys, they got us all scared to death over this pandemic. So, of course, you thought that was a great thing. You better be careful and watch it. Because bad leadership is dangerous. They're so dangerous, they'll have you believing that it's okay. When you know they don't have no business making decisions for our 11-year-old children when it comes to something as important as vaccination and pandemic and medicines and understandings. You guys better speak up, but more importantly, you better wake up out there, palms up. So with this Roe versus Wade, I'm combing the articles, and I'm just, catching up on the stories. And what do I see but the mental cost of being denied an abortion? That's real talk. So you don't stop and think about the ramifications as it relates to mental health when it comes to something as silly as these white men thinking it's okay to reverse a decision that has to do with a woman's body, an abortion. And so now what we have is a group of women that if this Roe versus Wade is reversed, now we got to worry about the women out there who can't get an abortion or going to be forced to do it illegally. And guess what we don't recognize as a society? The mental health exposure in that. See, there are a lot of people out there that think when we say mental health and that we're saying that we're making excuses.
No.
Every time we're standing in front of these so-called powers that be, and we try to raise their conscious levels about what mental health and mental challenges and the levels to it, they want to say that we're making excuses. And if you're that person out there, tonight's show is dedicated to you and all the folks in your clique that need to be educated.
And you know what, Rhonda? What makes that dangerous? I can remember hearing my mother and grandmother talking about years ago before it was legal, how the young women were going into these dirty places with hangers and they were dying and they were burying them in the backyard. But I can remember being invited to a gathering, I'll say, and they were talking about the abortions and women having abortions, and if they didn't, that they could come near. And my question to them was, and I'm not going to say whether I'm for it or against it, was, what if you get them and they can't, are you willing to step up and help this young lady raise that child? Are you going to provide for that child and that mother? Are you going to have a place for them?
No.
Are you going to buy formula?
No.
Are you going to buy Pampers? Are you going to take care of their medical conditions? Are you going to take care of their health issues? It's a lot that come with that. So when don't come with a quarter of the package, you got to be able to cover the whole pie. And they got real quiet. So I think it's very interesting that now it's before the Supreme Court.
Well,
after I sat in some sessions about 2-3 years ago with some very high-powered people that were discussing that, and they had no answer. And to this day, they still have no answer. Government need to get out of people's personal lives. Period.
Point blank. Hey guys, I want you to understand something. We're bringing this conversation because we want you to understand that mental health is not sitting in a box waiting for you to decide, or some doctor or power to be to decide that, oh, it's just about the diagnosed folks. No, it's not. And we're getting ready to help you to understand how our daily living, how our dear government continues to put us all in harm's way when they make these irresponsible decisions. That's why it's so important for the clergy personnel not to continue the patterns of our government officials. Dangerous and bad leadership kills. And tonight we're going to talk about it. So we're teaching you that in Roe versus Wade, the mental cost of being denied an abortion is something that's coming into play now. Why? Because you have a whole population of individuals, if not allowed to get an abortion, will possibly revert back to days of old, using old coat hangers and all other kinds of methods. But what do you think is going on with their mental disposition, with their psychological disposition? The whole purpose of why we make decisions to get an abortion are surrounded by complex understandings. maybe your financial disposition, maybe your housing circumstance doesn't allow for it, maybe there was a rape involved. There are so many factors. But the one thing that many of us will never consider, that if this Roe versus Wade is approved and they roll it back, then what will the mental cost be for being denied an abortion? See, it's time to stop playing with this. It's time to stop tippy-toeing around it. We keep telling you that mental health matters.
But you know what's so interesting? Now, they're talking about reversing that decision, but yet they let a pharmaceutical company develop and now selling without a prescription a day after pill. Ain't that the same thing?
Well, I don't know, because I'm not into politics,
okay,
but what I am
I'm
into is calling out irresponsibility, and you're making a very valid point. It's all about money and power and control. And what I don't understand, when we're together, when our dollar comes together, we're one of the most powerful forces.
Yes, we are.
One of the most powerful forces in this nation. But as long as they keep us divided around these important issues, then our power is taken. And I'm talking to you out there, those of you that are pretending like this mental health narrative is not important enough for you to check yourself, revamp, and then go back out into society and help us to save these lives and hold these government officials accountable, as well as the clergy. Because we're not letting anybody off the hook. So I promise you, coming from the Palms Up Show and the MAD platform, our coalition is going to make sure to mindfully make a difference in your life daily. We want to make it so that you're talking about mental health and the understandings of such all the time. Because you need to be recognizing your power is being taken. It's time to take it back. So that's one instance, Roe versus Wade. So those of you that are interested in that whole dynamic, as you should be, as we all should be, think about the mental cost of being denied an abortion. And for my scholars out there, it'd be really nice if you start writing emails to your local elected officials. And before you vote, ask them about the mental cost of being denied an abortion. It's time to hold people accountable. Okay. You say, Rhonda, that's not enough. I don't care nothing about abortion. I'm for abortion anyway, so that's not going to get my attention. We're going to keep this conversation going, Overseer. The royal family. The royal family could not escape mental health realities and ignorances and stigma. See, this mental health is real. So when you start talking about demonic and devils and things like that, we're going to burn you at the gate. Because it's time to get responsible around this conversation. Meghan Markle, every little girl grows up want to be a princess. Little mixed race. You know, that was just exciting for her. Got over there and saw all that nonsense talking about the color of her skin, the color of her baby's skin, telling her she's not good enough. Guys, you better pay attention out there. This mental health is real. She went live and told us that her mental health was in jeopardy. The royal family out there, everybody loved Princess Diana, loved the Queen.
Well, you saw what they did to Princess Diana.
Well, that's the whole point. We're so superficial in our understandings. It's time to take our power back. If we are willing to be open-minded and open-hearted, we will be able to see the mental health exposures, challenges, detours, and everything in between. But you got to open your mind and open your heart. Because see, you're walking around with yesterday's definition of mental health, and you think that means the person that's out of control only. When we just came out of a pandemic and you feel it, you know something not quite right. So we're going to talk to you and keep talking to you until you do something about it, so you can help us to hold the county, the city, and everyone in this DMV area accountable for responsible conversations surrounding mental health. See, if you were educated properly, you wouldn't find anything disgraceful, because you would understand how important it is to be educated. They tell me that most mental health, many folks challenged with mental health exposures and realities are carrying some aspect of trauma. Trauma happens every day around us. There's something called ACEs. Do your homework. The point I'm trying to make here is that with Google and everything being right at our fingertips, it's irresponsible to keep talking about demonic and devil understandings when all this beautiful information is right at your fingertips. ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. You know anything about it? You know its correlation to mental health? Well, we don't have a lot of time tonight to give you all that. But what I need you to know that when we say that there are levels to this, you need to understand how irresponsible it is for you to be speaking when you're not up on all of this. Did you know that research supports that trauma for many can start in the womb? And the manifestation of that trauma in the everyday life of that child could become some aspect of a mental disorder. Well, let's talk about mental disorders. Let's talk about the elephant in the room because we're so afraid. We think we know so much in the pulpit, preaching about nonsense, calling mental health demonic. What causes mental disorders? There is no single cause. Did you know that? Did you know it could be your genes or your family history? Did you know that it could have been hereditary? Or did you know that your life experiences such as stress? We keep telling you that. History of abuse. My domestic violence survivors out there, God bless you, those of you who have walked away and got yourself out of those situations. Those of you that are still going through, we need you to hear us. We need you to find your strength and find somebody to talk to so that we can help you come out of those types of situations. And coming out doesn't always mean leaving because the person you're in it with may have problems. Yeah. See, we've got to get to the root of what's going on so we can help people find they're healthy. And for everyone, that means something different. But you got to be willing to speak about it. Got to be open-hearted about it. Did you know that many childhood abuses can impact your ability to have a mental disorder or grow into a mental disorder? And you know from last week's show that we taught them, Overseer, that most mental health, 50% of all lifetime mental health is going to set in by the age of 14. So think about that. You're a pregnant woman. You're living in these environments that we keep telling you impact your mental health as well as your child that you're carrying. That child grows up and before they hit 14, they're already showing signs
but you know what, Ron?
Of mental challenges. It's some real stuff.
It's been proven when you talk about the womb that even before it's in the womb, it's been proven if the mom have some ACE and the father has some ACE, that fetus will have.
Well, that's what we're saying when we say the genes or the family history. Yeah. See, this is real
talk. It's real.
There are biological factors that can cause you to have mental disorders, such as a chemical imbalance. You hear people use that all the time. See, the point is to broaden what you think you know about mental health. The first thing I hear people saying overseas when they say, oh, they got a chemical imbalance in their brain. And they don't even have to know what they're talking. Just half of the information, and now we got a bunch of scholars. Someone can have a traumatic brain injury that could cause them to have mental disorders. How can having a brain injury be demonic? That's the irresponsibility of using that kind of conversation.
Education is so important.
It is too important, and especially to our people. Yeah. And even if they're pastors or standing in the pulpit, everybody can learn this. Even if they're elected officials, everybody can learn this information, because when you know better, you're supposed to do better. Palms up. All right? A mother exposed to viruses or toxic chemicals while pregnant can cause a mental disorder. Use of alcohol or recreational drugs. Yes, my weed smokers out there. Yes. Yes. My K2 folk. Yes. All of it. Yes. The alcohol. My vodka spritzers out there. Everything needs to be responsibly managed. Nobody's standing here judging, but we're trying to educate you. A serious medical condition like cancer. We talked about that. Waiting on diagnosis or receiving serious medical diagnosis is enough to trigger someone to have a mental disorder. How can finding out that you have cancer be demonic, overseer?
Or trying to wait and find out the results.
How can waiting on a diagnosis and you go through something, how can that be the devil?
The problem that I have is when you go and talk, and I'm clergy, I'm a pastor, I'm an overseer, and I just have a problem when members go to their pastor with things that they're dealing with, and they tell them, well, you're not walking in faith. And that's not true. That's not true. To me, that's a judgment call, and we need to stop it. Again, we're putting on trauma to them by just making that statement. Words are so powerful. That's why we need to learn to be mindful what we say and how we speak to people.
Amen. And also, isolation and feeling lonely. Making up new words, palms up. Lonely. I be going in.
Well, they got an Ebonics dictionary. So, hey, just add it on to it.
Get it how you can get it. Fit in where you get in. You know what I'm saying? Isolation and feeling lonely. Know anything about that coming out of this pandemic? Anybody coming through this pandemic wondering why they starting to feel a little different? Yeah, isolation and loneliness can do it. It's important that we create well-balanced understandings in our living. And that's why the Healthy DC and Me and the Healthy DMV and Me Leadership Coalition has formed. Because we recognize that there's power in numbers. And it's going to take a multitude of us to help dial this message up. Tell everybody you know from now on, there is nothing funny about being challenged with mental health. We've already taught you statistics, and we're going to keep teaching you statistics. 1 in 5. And if you want to know what that looks like, the next time you walk in a room or in the room you're in now, if there are enough of you, count 5. Somebody in that room is having some challenges, I promise you. And then if you're in a larger setting, keep on counting 5 and find out how many of you in that room are challenged.
Yeah.
It's time to get real about this. See, black people, we got a tendency to make fun or joan, as we used to call it, or we gonna joan on somebody. Well, find something else to talk about, because it's not intelligent to make fun about people that are having real life situations. Palms up?
Palms up.
Palms up. All you gotta do is ask. We'll go to work. What are some types of mental disorders? Well, Medline Plus wants you to know there's such thing as anxiety disorder, panic disorder, obsessive and compulsive disorder, depression, bipolar disorder, mood disorders, eating disorder, personality disorder, post-traumatic stress syndrome. And did you know that post-traumatic stress disorder is not just for our military folks? Did you know living in populations like the ones we currently live in, with the guns going off and the sirens racing by you every 5 minutes? My God, my beautiful nephew just experienced a car accident yesterday.
Yeah.
If we're not wise and we're not paying attention, then these are the types of things, these disorders will stay on us, stay with us.
So would we consider my Hazel one to always pick up, or this?
I don't know which disorder that is. Look, I ain't said this one yet. Psychotic disorder. And guess what? I purposely made sure to put this one at the end of the list, because folks that know, they got their go-to mental health. Oh, that's schizophrenia. Yeah. Oh, my cousin has schizophrenia. Oh, everybody you know got schizophrenia, because we talk about mental health. Or they bipolar. Everybody. And my little mamas down there working the system. You bipolar too, right? Y'all need to cut it out. But I would work the system too if they want to continue to be so ignorant. Palms up. We're going to talk about it. You want to make fun? You want to be irresponsible and use language that makes no kind of sense? Yeah, we're going to call you out there. Guys, those were just some of the types of mental disorders out there. Do you know how silly it sounds for you to be talking about devils and demons when we talking about real stuff here? My God, palms up. All right. Well, what are mental disorders or mental illness? What is it that you're so afraid of out there? Let's talk about it. Well, mental illness and mental disorders are conditions that affect your thinking, your feeling, your mood, and your behavior. They can be occasional, meaning just temporary in nature, or they can be long-lasting, which is the chronic understanding. And usually when it's chronic, you're finding out if there's medicine available or other type of treatment plans. Guys, there's levels to this.
Yes, it is.
Levels. First, you got to find out where you fit on the wheel. Because everybody fits somewhere, I promise you.
Yes.
We're not done yet. Everybody's on this wheel somewhere. So once you find out where you sit on the wheel, now you got to understand, what's your treatment plan? What does that look like? Are you talking to a psychiatrist once a week, twice a week? You need them that much? 3 times a month? How often? Everybody's treatment plan is different. And now what's so beautiful, Pastor, they have the telehealth.
Yep.
Now you ain't got to tell nobody about your mental challenges. You can get on that computer, get on that phone, and find help.
Yes, you can.
And guess what else you have? You got the Healthy DCME Leadership Coalition. You got your beautiful overseer coach. You got your beautiful Dr. Rhonda L. Hamilton. We're out here in these streets. We want to make mental health so ordinary so we can save our babies from these irresponsible adult conversations. Palms up. All right, let's keep this going because I don't think you learned enough yet. All right, I need you to know that also mental disorders can affect your ability to relate to others and your function daily. So when you got folks on the job, folks in the grocery store, in the elevator with you at the hospital, you know, in your regular routines, pay attention. Sometimes it's just as important as somebody being around you to recognize you need help. Our homeless families out there, our homeless individuals at the bus stop having their conversations, smoking on cigarettes that are not lit. You know, you see them all the time. Mm-hmm. There's some beautiful individuals. Beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
Beautiful. And the most important thing is they're human. So guys, we need you to know something about this mental health conversation. We're very disappointed in adults that would not use their power for good. We're out here trying to save lives. Palms up. And we can't do that if you keep using that irresponsible conversation. So we're taking the liberty of making sure that in May, most importantly, in May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we want to make sure to share some good information with you guys. Is that okay? Because we've got to do something to save some lives. You guys don't think that this gun violence is tied to this mental health messaging that we keep putting out there. You guys are not recognizing that the homelessness problem in this area is tied to the mental health, but it's also tied to irresponsible leadership. And if we're going to get your attention and get your help to help us hold them accountable, we got to bring this knowledge to you. Palms up. All right, let's keep it going. Because, of course, you know what anxiety is. Mm-hmm. We talk about it all the time. Did you know that anxiety was a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease? How often you felt anxiety?
I just felt it the other day.
Come on now. We feel it all the time. It shows up all the time. Mm-hmm. A feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease is anxiety.
And it's so important to know the signs and how I know it, because my chest began to feel tight. Mm-hmm. So when I feel that, I know it's trying to come on, and I have to take a deep breath and just focus. Sometimes play some music. Mm-hmm. Sometimes just sit and talk myself through it. Sometimes I have to pick up the phone and just release. Not looking for nobody to solve my problem.
That's right.
But just to talk it out.
It's levels to this. Hear me? Your anxiety and how you deal with it is going to be different maybe from how I deal with it. Okay? It's levels to this. We don't just talk to hear ourselves talk. Okay? So it's important that you understand that compulsive behavior or panic attacks also follow under the description of anxiety. So if you, as you heard Pastor say, if you don't know your boundaries, you don't know what it looks like when you're starting to feel anxious, you're not sure, and it becomes compulsive, you might shoot a gun.
Yeah.
You might take a life. You might go into survival mode. You might not be reachable. Did you hear me tell you that one of the mental disorders is anxiety disorder? You think our teenagers, our young people out there feeling worried, nervousness, or uneasy about anything?
Oh, yeah, when we hear it on a daily basis and get phone calls, and when you hear the babies talk about they can't go outside and play. Just last week, it was in a neighborhood where a young girl was shot outside playing. And to hear her best friend, who was about 7 years old, lay her head on my chest.
My God.
And just start crying. So, see, it ain't something that we read about. We walk it. We're in the community. We talk about intervention, but what if we could prevent it if we got involved?
Woo, there's a conversation. We can't get to the preventative understanding. The powers that be, the folks that you voted for, are not spending enough money on the preventative. The guns keep going off, so we chasing the problem instead of getting in front of it. Come on, somebody, and palms up, why don't you? It's time to talk real out there, because it's time to save some lives. It's time to stop the guns. It's time. Triggers. First of all, I want to go back to anxiety. You think shooting a gun, robbing a senior in front of her house, sleeping in the buildings and everything, you think that's compulsive behavior?
No.
No? You kill people every day? You don't call killing people compulsive? Because I do.
Again, it's a person's mindset.
Didn't say why. It's about the action. If you don't wake up killing people every day.
I don't know. Some folks think that is a game. Seriously.
Doesn't matter what they think, it's what we know. This is about knowledge.
Yeah.
If you're not in the army, you're not a registered soldier out on a war or battlefield, then it's compulsive behavior to be walking around pulling out guns to do your talking and emoting and communicating.
Back in the day, when they went before the judge, they gave them a choice between prison or going in service. You go in service, you get the proper training, you get to do all. You get to do all that. Yeah, I don't know. To me, sometimes when I look out there, out in the street, it just seems like people just numb. Like the emotional piece is just not, it's like they robotic. Have no sense.
You kill enough people, you be robotic too.
Right or wrong.
You stay hungry enough, you be robotic too. You check out of what's right or wrong, you be robotic too.
And then when you go to the system, I think the system help pull the trigger too.
Absolutely.
Because when they go to the agencies that are supposed to be there to help them, they talk to them any old kind of way.
Yeah, that's that cycle we talking about. So the cycle is they go in to get help, people treat them like crap.
They just set them
they
off
come
again.
out, get upset, get set off, and then they go do what they got to do.
Even the police
now,
officers.
cycle.
Okay. Okay. They dealing with it too. They dealing with it too.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that being human, whether you're a police officer, whether you're a clergy.
Nurse.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because human beings understand that anxiety comes from a feeling of worry, nervousness, uneasiness, and it can be coupled with compulsive behavior or panic attacks. Trigger. Know what the triggers can be for anxiety? A big event like death, or a building of smaller stressful life situations, like breaking up in relationships. How many of my young people out there, how many do we hear oftentimes can't find love, not lucky in love, feeling like it's something wrong with them, and woe is me, and now they're feeling like nobody likes them. And so now these series of small events of worrying can build up to something larger.
And that's why we have so many gunshots. I have never heard so much because I can't have you, ain't nobody, and they shooting.
That's been going on for a minute.
And killing.
Yeah, they've been, I'm sure you got a grandmother, because I do. I'm sure you got an auntie, because I do, that can relate. Through time, we've heard these narratives. Anybody's been caught up in a domestic abuse or sexual abuse or any other type of abusive situation where there's a predatory relationship, you hear that. If I can't have you, nobody else gonna have you.
And they just
I'm gonna kill you for anybody. All of that. That's the talkings and the mimicking of a unhealthy person. And when you can recognize that, then you should be able to get yourself to safety. It's time to start talking out there It's time to start speaking up. This mental health is real, and it's showing up in all walks of life, and it's showing up temporarily, and sometimes it stays with you. It's levels to this mental health understanding and the illness and disorders that come as a result of doing nothing. Guys, I want you to know someone dying in the family is grief-stricken. Grief can be a doorway to anxiety and depressive disorders. Some people's personalities, let's be real, you met them. They anxious, they always ready to jump off, you can't never settle down, something's always wrong. Personality disorder, we talked about. You know what some of the symptoms can be? Difficulty concentrating, your mind going blank, feeling restless, you're just wound up on edge, or easily ready to go to sleep. Guys, all this is associated with having anxiety. What's demonic about any of this? This sounds like some real life human stuff to me.
It is.
I don't hear the demonic part yet.
I think I could identify.
I think everybody out there should be able to identify. That was the whole point. Who is at risk? Come on now. Let's see who on the wheel. If it's not you, who's at risk? Mental illness is common. The Mayo Clinic wants us to understand. They want us to understand that more than half of all Americans will be diagnosed. Did you hear me? More than half of all Americans will be diagnosed with a mental disorder at some time in their life. Chew on that for a minute with your devil and your demonic talk. Chew on that. What types of therapies or treatments are out there? There's something called brain stimulation. I know somebody who had that. They put metals on their head, and they said they stopped it after a while because it made them feel uncomfortable. Like I'm going to tell you something. If you do some homework and you look at the history of psychiatry and the treatments, or what they call treatments. You know that psychiatry back when we fought World War I and World War II, you know they were cutting off people's limbs to convince them that they cut the mental health out of them so they're okay now, so they can go back to battle and fight. Palms up to our beautiful military out there and our beautiful psychiatry industry. Guys, know your history so you can take your power back. It's time to have responsible conversations, because no doubt, there is something wrong. There's something going on, and we can deal with it. But what we can't do is allow elected officials, police officers, or any other person walking around this town in a uniform to set the standard for what your mental health should be or look like. When people are sleeping in the streets and guns are going off profusely and folks are getting accosted in the front of their lawn, in front of their housing. Come on, guys. Come on. This is about you. This is about your neighbor. This is about your children. This is about the babies going to school. This mental health is about everybody. Yeah. And it's levels to it. Stop forcing families to live in the conditions that they're living with so that you can stay in these cliques and stay popular with these so-called elected officials or police folk. Cut it out. It's not cute. You're killing our babies, or you're helping to contribute to the demise of our communities. Palms up. Palms up. Calling it out. Calling it what it is. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. You ready to get educated? You ready to do something different? I challenge you. Are you brave enough? Are you courageous enough to help change the conversation? Because, see, we can't do this by ourselves. And the way we do this is we start one at a time, one circle at a time. We start knocking down these cliques. Start forcing public officials to do the work. And stop with all this passing this money around that's not changing the lives of the people in our community that need to have their lives changed. Palms up. It's your girl, you know, I ain't gonna steer you wrong. You know, May is Mental Health Awareness, and you know, sometimes I gotta give it to you tough. Because we gotta stop this nonsense. Our babies are dying. I need you to know that besides brain stimulation, which that just takes me a place. that was considered torture. Now, obviously, do some homework. There are some mental health professionals out there, even if they don't look like us, that generally do care, but you do your homework out there and you get some advocates involved so we can help you do that homework. Don't just listen to anybody because they got some initials behind their name, because I'm going to tell you something about this study of psychiatry, this industry of psychiatry. It doesn't have a pretty history, and you need to do some homework and not take my word on it. Yeah. And that's why it's so dangerous when folks of the church start talking about devils and demons. Stop talking like we're living in the prehistoric times.
We need to make it a safe place for people.
Yes, you do. And you also need to be responsible to the people that you're serving. You need to do some homework and get educated. Stop trying to be popular for the wrong reasons. Guys, meditation is another form of treatment for mental health and mental illness. Medication, of course, and not everybody requires medication. But if you have been determined that you need medication, then take your medication. Because if you had a heart problem and they gave you heart medicine, you take it. I got everybody I know taking high blood pressure medication. But as soon as we talk about the mental health medication, nobody want to take the mental health medication. And if it's making you feel away, speak up, say something. Don't be anybody's experiment. That's not what this is about. Yeah. This is about taking ownership about where you are right now with yourself and recognizing what level of care you need so you can function daily.
And speaking of that,
come on, sis.
That's another thing. We do need to educate ourselves. You brought up a good point. If we have other things going on in our body and they give us medication and stuff, sometimes they can over-medicate you. Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to talk about and let the doctor know how you feel. And if that doctor cannot respect what you say, then maybe you need to find you another doctor.
Amen. And let's talk about it. You brought it up. The pharmaceutical companies don't think they're not out here to make money on your behind.
That's what it's all about.
They're not going to tell you that this ain't good for you. You see those infomercials at night when all those conditions rolling up the screen, everything they saying, what you taking the pill for? If it's not helping you or it's putting you in harm's way, stop being other people's experiments. Take ownership and take your power back. You don't have to know everything that we're talking about. You just have to have an open heart, an open mind, and get the advocates involved. See, our government don't want to deal with advocates.
They can't stand us.
Oh, boy, if they don't like us, that means we're doing our job right. Palms up. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, another treatment would be therapy or counseling. So that's why you hear us always talking about, guys, we want to meet you where you are because everybody's walk is different. And we get this on so many levels. We live it on so many levels. So it's important for you guys to put a system of folks around you. And I know it's scary sometimes because you look around to your right and your left and ain't nobody around you talking about this kind of stuff. Yeah. And the people around you still making jokes. Oh, it's not cool or popular, is it? Was it cool or popular to be sick in silence? Is it cool or popular to feel away, to feel depressed by yourself? No. This ain't about cool or popular. This about you. Palms up. Hey guys, it's your girl, And sometimes we got to get real. We got to slow all the entertainment down. You see we've been busy bringing this message on every level to make sure to touch every life that we can touch. And every now and again we hear something when we're out in these communities and we bring people into our settings. Yeah. And so we want to make sure to set it straight. You might see us on a political platform. You might see us in the church pulpit. You might see us out in the community. But I need you to know no matter what, our message is constant. Yes, mental health matters, and we're coming for anybody that doesn't understand it and doesn't demonstrate responsible behavior as a result of it. Oh, hey, Mr. Trayon White, palms up. Oh, hey, Mr. Robert At-Large White, council member. Oh, hey, Miss Muriel Bowser. Hey, Mr. Phil Mendelson. Palms up, guys. You ought to make mental health your judging stick when you go into that voting booth. Find out where their stands are and find out what their motivations are for changing the lives of people that live in your community or live in your family's communities or go to the schools where your children go. It doesn't have to just be about you. We got to get responsible and start taking care of the next one. Mm-hmm. Palms up. It's about humanity. It's about mental health because this is May. Mm-hmm. What is depression out there? Because clearly none of this mental health talk is about you. Clearly, you've never experienced depression. What was that fact? That almost half of all Americans will be diagnosed with a mental disorder at some time in their life. Did you know that mental disorders can come temporarily or hang around and become chronic? Mm-hmm. Oh, let's talk about it, palms up, because May is Mental Health Awareness. What is depression? Depression is a state of a low mood, lost interest in activities that were once enjoyed. You know how you used to like going out with the girls, and then all of a sudden, every time the girls go, you're just not in the mood. Mm-hmm. You done come out that relationship, but that man got you so twisted, you don't feel like being bothered. And it becomes unhealthy. Now you're not eating, Pastor. Now you don't want to go to work. Now you don't want to be bothered with the children. Now you don't want to cook dinner. All you want to do is drink or find a drug of choice.
Yeah, that's it.
Start recognizing the signs, guys. This isn't about judgment. This is about trying to save your life, because there's levels to this. Depression is a state of a low mood and low interest in activities that were once enjoyed. Feelings of self-doubt, low-spirited, and loss of hope or courage. What is depression out there, guys? We're ready for you. Palms up. Talking about mental health is about demons and demonic. Not cool. You know why it's not cool? Because out of everything we just talked about, if we're not successful, and when we're not successful reaching that individual that needs help, suicide. You know what suicide is? Suicide is death caused by injuring oneself with the intent to die. Did you know that in 2020, there was one death every 11 minutes? Can you imagine coming out this pandemic what those statistics are going to look like? If in 2020, there was one death every 11 minutes. Did you know in 2020 that 12.2 million American adults seriously thought about suicide? Did you know that 3.2 million planned it? And another 1.2 million attempted it, actually carried it out. Guys, I need you to know out there that May is Mental Health Awareness. We're going to keep on saying it because we need you to get educated about the things that you should care about out there. See, there was a shooting just recently at the grocery store, and everybody was up in arms because they felt that the system was making a way for the Caucasian gentleman
because I do feel like
he's
that.
racist. Of course we do. We always do.
If it was my color,
but guess what?
But
guess what? We gotta stop that. When George Floyd got killed, if he was a white man, every time, if we already know that,
we need to do something about it.
So now what are we gonna do? Because see, when George Floyd, we gotta stop killing. But see, when we went through this with George Floyd, turned that city upside down. Wasn't having it no more. They talked about the inequities in our health. Talked about the systemic racism and discrimination that's going on. Talked about the social determinants designed to keep us in these cycles. And now here we are, 2 minutes out of a pandemic, everybody back in line. Back to normal. Ready to go in there and vote for these same old fools. Same old fools that got our communities in disarray. Well, I know. Well, Rhonda, who we supposed to? I don't know. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. But if you're going to be foolish enough to repeat their name and say you voted for them, at least be smart enough to be able to say that you know their position on mental health because it impacts so many. So you don't have an excuse to be ignorant anymore. Yeah, I said it. Palms up. It's time to take all this mockery away from the conversation of mental health. It's time to take all this shamefulness away from the conversation of mental health. Because I need you to know something. There's a very, very beautiful soul that makes it possible for us to be able to bring this narrative to you comfortably, knowingly, committedly, and determined. And there was nothing foolish about our dear matriarch, Mother Regina. There was nothing foolish about her, nothing shameful about her. May is Mental Health Awareness, guys, out there, and this is the Palms Up Show, and we want you guys to know that every Tuesday we bring you this message at 7 p.m. because it's real. It's real. There are too many people in our community suffering. You see us out there. You know who we are. We're not coming on here to be glam and glitz. We're coming on here to bring you the word. And when no one else will call it out, we certainly will.
Yeah.
Our invitation and our door remains open. If there's anyone that wants to chime in on this mental health message, and if there's anyone that wants to come and present their point of view, then we welcome that. Because the only way we get through, guys, is to go through.
Yeah.
And we're going through, and it's time to get through. Palms up. It's your girl, Overseer. I'm telling you, you know how I feel when they come through here with all this nonsense. May is Mental Health Awareness. This is the time we get educated. If you don't spend any other month looking into mental health, trying to understand that this is the month that you should, and I don't care what you did in your former life. I don't care what kind of job you hold. I don't care how popular you are on social media. Over half of all Americans at some point in their lifetime will be diagnosed with a mental disorder, and that's what you need to chew on.
You know what? Isn't it amazing? They made May Mental Health Month. Mm-hmm. But what's the holiday that we celebrate at the end of the month?
Yeah, Memorial Day.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Juneteenth on the horizon. Juneteenth on the horizon. Palms up, War Day for life, guys. It's your girls. We enjoy doing this work. We enjoy lifting up a beautiful soul out there. We enjoy making sure you know that we your tribe. Palms up. If you don't know where you belong, all you got to do is take a look every Tuesday, 7 p.m. We your family. We got your back out there.
Yes, we do.
If you're dealing with something that's really challenging, really concerning to you, and you're not sure what it is, it may not be a mental illness. It don't have to be. The point is to be aware, because the whole goal is to get preventative. Woo, what would we look like if we got our elected officials to commit to investing in preventative understandings? Yeah. Woo, baby, I'm here to tell you. Guys, there's so much more to this conversation, and you've had 2 hours. Last week and this week, 2 hours of some very beautiful information surrounding mental health. And I tell you that the conversation, we haven't even put a dent in it. It's levels to this. The whole point of doing it is to show you guys that there is a narrative that is important enough for you to come back to the table.
And I'll share this with you. On Mondays, we now have the Voices in the Valley, where we sit and we talk about stuff. There's no judgment zone or anything. If you want further information, just look me up on my Facebook page. I'm telling you, it's a breath of fresh air when you can go in a place and talk about what you're dealing with and not worry about the repercussions of government or somebody looking down on you, treating you some kind of way. It's about just building each other up. It's for women only, though.
Hey, that's okay. Palms up to our beautiful queens out there, because everybody got to get their work, and sometimes we got to separate so we can go and, let those walls down and talk about the kinds of stuff that we can talk about to kind of purge ourselves. Yeah. But hey man, don't you be dismayed. Palms up. We got you. We're going to be dropping our Moving Men series in June. How about that? We out here taking care of our folk, guys. We ain't messing around. Don't come up over here, as my overseer says, with all that bullskate. Palms up. We are going to be dropping our Moving Men series starting in June. We're going to bring the first series in during the week of Father's Day. So shout out to all our men out there. We are making room on our platform for your voice. Palms up. And it's our Moving Men series, where we want to showcase our men who are brave enough, courageous enough to talk to us about their walk. Whether it's just about a temporary or long-term depression, whether it's something that you haven't diagnosed yet, maybe it's something you've been dealing with your family for a while. Maybe you're getting closer to that grave as opposed to getting started. So you want to start talking to the generations of your legacy to talk about this mental health and some things that maybe you had not made right with those coming behind you. Guys, this is about saving a life. Let's do something for our children that we weren't willing to do for ourselves. Palms up. All right, my beautiful souls out there. It's your girl. Palms up to you out there. We enjoy doing this work every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're going to be bringing you this word. I want you to know that our beautiful leader, Mr. Frey Hill, is out there doing this work. AblazinRadio.com. ABLAZINRADIO.com. AblazinRadio.com on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Come out and check out Mr. Fred Hill's message, because it's important that as leaders that we continue to educate our communities and we continue to do the work of leaders. And then come back at 7 p.m. so you can get this good word, because you know what it is. It's your girl. Palms up out there, guys. I hope that you found this beautiful information helpful. Don't just take it and turn off. Share the feed. Educate someone.
Yes.
Do some more homework. Impress yourself. Impress us. Impress your community. Let's start talking it up out there. Let's come back together. Stop voting for folks that you don't know their position on mental health. Stop taking their word. Get receipts, as the young people say. Hey, overseer, we done it another week. You know what it is. It's so exciting, guys. Before I turn this over to overseer to give us a closeout message, I want you to know that the suicide prevention hotline is 1-800-273-8255. And as a dear colleague told me, it's not always about folks that want to kill themselves. Sometimes folks just need an outlet. Sometimes folks are reaching out for attention. Sometimes folks are just distraught and they're not sure and they didn't mean to go all the way. Whatever it is, guys, there is a platform here on this social media atmosphere helping you to understand that we will meet you where you are. You don't have to come in the door with any kind of explanations. There is no judgment. We're here for you because we care about you. There's a beautiful soul, Miss Regina Fleming, who walked this DMV area struggling with her mental health. That was yesterday's conversation. Today's conversation, we want to save all of the Regina Flemings and the Ronald Williams out there, my beautiful father with his opioid addiction. Guys, we all have a story. We all have a testimony. We all have a journey. I'm the beautiful legacy of both. And I intend to use everything in my power to make sure that you too will recognize your power. Amen?
Amen.
All right, let's turn over to our overseer and see how she closes us out.
Put this in. The past 2 weeks we have really been talking about mental health. And if you want further information, want to do our intake, turn on to www.healthydc and that's AND.me.org. I'm going to say it real slow. www.healthydc.me.org. We're very serious. Go on that website. You can do our intake. There's a phone number where you can call. It's real, y'all. We want to empower one another. We got to be there for one another. Let's stop the division at all levels, all walks of life.
That's right.
We need to come together. We are a very powerful community. And if we would learn to realize that,
My God.
And that's why the government don't want us to get together, because they realize the power that we have. It's in our DNA for real.
Come on with it, sis.
Okay, I'm going to just keep it 100. You know, as the African says, it takes a village.
Yes.
Let's bring our village back together. Let's agree we can disagree. Let's learn to talk to each other. Let's watch our body language. You never know. Just a smile. Now that we got masks on, please understand this. Your eyes say a lot. And sometimes people don't want you to say anything, but if they could just get that cheerful look and give them the strength to go on another day. And sometimes it even make people open up. I'm telling
walls
you,
come down.
They just start talking, not necessarily wanting you to solve their problem, but just showing that you care enough just to listen. Love you to life. Come on, y'all. Let's get it together. If this COVID haven't done anything else, it should have taught you we need each other.
Amen.
Love you.
Amen, amen. I love that, guys. It's your girl, and I want to remind you, May is Mental Health Awareness. I want you to know that 1 in 5 Americans live with mental illness. I hope after tonight you recognize how powerful that statement is. I hope the next time you walk in a room, you'll remember to start counting 1 through 5 and figuring out the reality of what we have before us. I need you to remember that suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 34. The first leading cause, it has to do with people that are having what do they call it? Accidents. Accidents is the number 1, but suicide follows right behind it with number 2. And the most important thing I want you guys to know, more of our females are getting mental health treatment for mental illness as opposed to our men. So women, I need you talking it up out there. I need you to be more encouraging for these men that are not showing favorable behavior patterns. I need you to talk it up and get in touch with agencies like ours, as you heard dear overseer say, HealthyDCandme.org. Reach out. Don't do this work alone. Okay? Don't try to figure out alone, and stop being isolated with it, because it's just not healthy. Guys, we're here and we care. I want you also to stay with this before I leave you. 1 in 4 persons shot by police and killed between 2015 and 2020 had a mental illness. And had our dear police officers been in check with their own mental states, then maybe those triggers would not go off as much. And maybe they wouldn't shoot to kill as much and try to sell us on the fact that they were in danger. See, we're not trying to play anything down, but we want everybody accountable. And you and I both know that there are circumstances where the shoot to kill didn't have to happen. So we need to get in the midst of all of that, and we need to start talking about all that, but we need to be responsible. And before we start calling anybody out, we need to call ourselves out. If you are the mother, the parent, the guardian, or associated with these youth out here that are killing people, you need to speak up and say something so we can help save their life and save the lives that they have not taken yet. See, this conversation is for everybody, and no one is exempt. Palms up. It's your girl, and just like that, we've done another week. Guys, please reach out if you need help. 240-274-9436 is the telephone number. You heard our beautiful overseer say that on Monday nights we have a beautiful platform for our women. You can reach out to her Facebook, or you can actually go to mimotherskeeper.com, check the events page, and it gives you all of the wonderful things coming up in our community that we'll be a part of. We love you. We love you, and we care about you. And we want you to start doing the same for yourself and for everyone around you. Palms up. See you guys next week. Share the feed. Appreciate you.